Over the last year, I've been learning how to program and build software applications as a solo developer. A few months ago, I showed a program I built that scans YouTube for new topics I can cover. Last week, I finished a new evolution of that same project that literally researches, writes, records, edits, and uploads a video all by itself. Right now, I have it uploading videos about free games that it finds on the internet. I'm looking for more developers who are interested in helping me with this project. I'm not entirely sure what to use it for, but I'm certain the opportunities are endless. Right now, I just have it finding and showcasing free games because I feel like that's something people will find valuable even if the video is created by a robot. Link to the video below. If you're interested in working with me on this project, please send me a DM. That tweet was written today by BlueDrake42, a YouTuber. Someone that now has 1 million subscribers on YouTube, someone that's been around for quite some time, and the creator of Operation Harsh Doorstop, a free-to-play Steam game where someone, after criticizing how he was so critical, Blue Drake decided that he would start his own game, where I guess after having done so, one could say that he understands the pain of a game that doesn't perform nearly as well as you would hope. Although he has still gotten 3 million adopters as of late, which is something to be relatively proud of, I think. Now, on his sub-channel, BlueDrake42 Game Trailers, boasting a 6,000 subscriber count, shows this video. One that goes on to list a whole bunch of free-to-play video games, things that I guess he found to be interesting, or the AI did, where the AI not only ends up downloading the videos where it's I guess outlining each one of these things, but also narrates it using voice samples from Blue Drake's voice, edits it using editing styles from Blue Drake's prior videos, and ends up cutting it to whatever length each one needs to be cut to. Everything, start to finish, including the scripting, the voice work, the edits, all of it is being done by AI. And sometimes this is in hilarious fashion.
Players will experience an exhilarating blend of FPS and chess. Asterisk, asterisk, FPS, chess, asterisk, asterisk.
Yeah, it actually used the words asterisk, asterisk, instead of just adding more vocal inflection to the script that it wrote itself. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, this is the equivalent of AI slop, and it harkens back to the AI-enabled MSI monitor that I did a video about just a few months ago, where this is in like the crawl before you can walk phase of AI development. But as these logical learning algorithms, models, voice sampling models develop over time, this is something that Blue Drake, if he continues to develop it like he says that he wants to, will end up becoming significantly more sophisticated and would eventually become something that we wouldn't even necessarily be able to tell. Remember, just a couple of years ago, dall-e or whatever couldn't draw fingers on their AI models. And every month that passes, it gets more and more difficult to be able to tell. But this harkens to a larger issue when it comes to content creation, because this AI slop that we can all tell is AI is something that we can sniff out pretty easily, especially if we've been used to YouTube over the years. The problem that this harkens to is just being a creator altogether, and whether or not something would be considered, I guess, grifting. And this is something that plagues all media forms. And I don't mean just like putting an AI face of your favorite female content creator on a porn star and trying to throw that up on a website somewhere. I'm talking about stuff like SAG-AFTRA, for instance, not backing up voice actors inside of video games and approving AI use for video game generation. Or artists like Drake, even though he's kind of under scrutiny right now, and The Weeknd having that AI song thrown up on Apple Music and Spotify for a time before it finally got taken down. Or how about the game art industry in China, where artists that were making promotional works for different video games coming out in China were making a livable wage and are now being paid 1/10 of that just to touch up artwork that AI is making instead. And this, of course, is aside from the fact that the work of a YouTuber in general is pretty lazy. I mean, it's generally pretty easy work. Don't get me wrong, there takes some amount of knowledge and talent and the ability to be somewhat engaging so that people like you want to end up watching or listening to some schlub like me. But at the end of the day, the work itself is not really all that difficult. Anyone can make a YouTube video. Not to mention, for the plethora of things that guys like me may not be that very good at, we have the ability to hire on folks that on a per diem basis would be willing to edit out videos. There's tons of guys on Fiverr even that would be willing to not only musically score, but also visually edit your videos in a way that is professional and even put those fun little pop-up like word captions that show up on the screen all the time. There's guys that I pay to do that on a very regular basis. But instead, guys like Blue that exist that say that they are working under the guise of wanting to experience or experiment with new and emerging technologies forego all of that in the idea of being able to automate this entire process. And that's kind of the point that I'm trying to get at, is he's seeking developers to be able to make this even more sophisticated than it already is, and says that he's going to be putting out a video of his own in, I don't know, several hours this evening, tomorrow, whatever. So these tweets were obviously designed to generate some kind of a buzz around the AI algorithm that he's been working on all of this time. And while I understand that the idea of AI or the inevitability of AI is something that we will all have to deal with in time, I don't see any reason to necessarily be boasting about the fact that you've been able to create something like this and then hide behind the veil of saying that, well, if I'm not going to do it, somebody else is probably further along and they're going to beat me to the punch. Yes, they could, but I still don't see why somebody that's supposed to be considered like one of us should be involved in or helping it along in any way. Somehow managing to make the laziest job, or potentially the laziest job, somehow even lazier than it already was. Even with the outtakes, at this point, the clock on my recording says 14 minutes. It's going to take me another 15 to edit this down by hand. Maybe another 15 after that to be able to upload it to YouTube. And for that effort, I'll make somewhere around $150 to $200, depending on where the viewership ends up actually going here. Is that valuable use of my time? I think so. It ends up feeding people back to my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Onepeg, by the way, where some of the people that are watching this will eventually become people that view my content, whereby I end up making a slightly better living. Hopefully. But none of this is automated. And the person that generates my thumbnail images, I pay to be able to do that. Fairly, I think. Now, granted, I could take the time to try to automate this with AI work and whatnot over the course of the next calendar year in my spare time while I do that in the background, while I pay people or do the hand editing myself on all of my own videos while I try to train an algorithm to do this all for me at one point or another in time. But in that case, all I'm doing is padding my ability to be able to put someone else out of work and make my life that much more grifty. And as somebody that already gets accused of doing that, I really don't see a need to give somebody else another excuse. You know what I mean? Going down this avenue, in my opinion, is the way that you end up killing creativity. It doesn't aid in it whatsoever. And for me, if I wanted to have an Oppenheimer moment, I probably would have done what Oppenheimer had been saying all along. Keep it to yourself, you know? Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this one. Thanks so much for coming and checking it out. If you want to give me a follow over at twitch.tv/Onepeg, that would be amazing. I'm streaming every day around 5 a.m. lately, Eastern Standard Time, just because we don't sleep. Otherwise, maybe give me a sub here, hit the bell, or whatever, if you're feeling frisky. In the meantime, I'll be working on another video. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.